I'm Craig Burnett, where we're going to have a little fun with one of the movers and shakers of ERAtv, the one and only Anthony Sullivan. Now wait,
a mover and a shaker.
Is it Anthony or Anthony Sullivan? I want to set the record straight right now because my producer has been saying, no, it's Anthony. That's how he always says it. And I say, what's the H there for if it isn't Anthony?
You can butcher my language, you can butcher the English language, but you cannot butcher my name. It's Anthony for more than one reason, because it sells more product, I think. You know, when I say Anthony, people just pay attention. They're like, he got that wrong. And then they start listening. So.
All right, so should I start calling myself Quag then? Is that?
It would probably sell more. If you speak with a British accent, you sell more. This is a known fact.
I have a funny story to tell you about that, because when people ask me what I do, I say, well, I'm a direct response host. You know, the guys who sell, well, you remember the British guy who poured the lighter fluid on the car and said, we're going to light this car on fire.
All right, Mike. John Parkin.
Exactly.
Well, they say if you have nothing intelligent to say, if you say it with a British accent, it just sounds intelligent.
And this is why you've had such a marvelous career.
That's the theory. That's my whole, I came over and people just started handing me money.
Now, before you came over, you started selling in the Haymarket in London as a little kid. What are some of the things you sold?
The first product I ever pitched, the first thing I ever sold was a house when I was 6. That's when I knew I could sell. Someone came around to look at my parents' house, which was for sale, and the realtor never showed up, so I ended up giving the people a tour, and they bought the house. So 6 years old, I sold a house.
Did your parents take you with them?
They were delighted. The realtor never got the commission, so they weren't very happy. No, but on a serious note, the first thing I ever really pitched was the Amazing Washmatic, which is it's a washing. It's a 9-foot hose. It works direct from a bucket. The faster you go, the faster it flows. As soon as you stop, it stops. And coincidentally enough, the late great Billy Mays sold the same product too. So I started pitching when I was about 20, and actually the guy that I worked for was at the show today. I haven't seen him for about 10 years.
That's terrific.
So that was great. And I just sort of stayed in the cleaning category. I don't know why. It went from cleaning cars to cleaning floors to cleaning toilets to laundry. I've been trying to break out of the cleaning category, but it just seems it fits.
What are some of the products that you passed on? Because I think well, first let me ask you, is it experience or is it gut feeling that works for you the best?
You know, I think one of the most exciting things and also the most frustrating thing about this industry is as soon as you think you've got it, you don't know.
Right.
Even some of the legends of the business, you just don't know what's going to hit. Sometimes I'll turn the TV on and I'm shaking my head and I'll say it, Snuggie. I didn't see that coming.
Who knew?
If anyone says they saw Snuggie coming, they're lying.
Yeah.
You know, so you never know what's going to hit, and it just goes to show how healthy the business is, and you never know what the consumer's going to respond to. And you know, I don't know the formula, and sometimes I'll sit there and this one's a slam dunk. I love this, you know, and it's off the cliff. And then the sleepers sometimes turn out to be, I mean, take OxyClean. You know, it's a monster brand. It's a household name. You look at Proactive. You look at the guys from P90X.
Sure.
These are brands that are created.
Yeah.
Little audio bump right now.
Yeah. We'd like. It's a good thing we're organized here at ERAtv, because that's an ERA person doing an actual overhead announcement.
But this is actually kind of funny. When I used to pitch, we'd be in a convention center, and we'd start doing these announcements. So you'd be pitching, and all of a sudden they'd start talking about the demonstration going over somewhere, and so you have 50 people in front of you, and you'd always keep pitching over the announcement. Like, gotta keep pitching.
Never stop.
And they would never stop.
Absolutely never stop. Now, are there products that you said, you know, I'm sorry, and they went to somebody else and hit big? Are there some that you've said no thanks to?
No, I'm excellent at picking the winners all the time. I never make mistakes. I have made some horrible mistakes. Yeah, I think I passed on the pet egg.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was an expensive. No, I don't think that's going to sell.
Well, I don't want to depress you too much.
I'll just
I think
the pet egg.
We'll stick with pet egg. Now, you led before Pitchmen. You led a quiet life well, you've never been quiet, but you led a relatively obscure life as a producer, doing great jobs and having big hits and things. What has the show done to your life now that you have camera crews following you all the time, and even when they don't, you're recognized all the time? You know, how does that feel?
To be serious, to be attached to Discovery Channel is an honor. It's a great network, and also to bring Discovery Channel into this industry. I think when people first heard that Billy and I were going to do Pitchmen, they're like, oh, they're going to peel back the curtains and no one's going to buy anything. And I think the guys from Discovery really did a good job of showing that there are people behind the products, there are inventors behind it, there are families, there are stories, and I didn't even really know how the show was going to turn out when we first started doing it, and I'm really proud of what we did in season 1. And obviously losing Billy was a tragedy on a personal level and on a business level. And season 2 going forward, it's just nice to I think it's great for the industry to be on Discovery Channel. I think people look at the business a little bit differently now, especially everyday people. They look at them and they go, these people are okay. We always used to get that kind of infomercial hucksters,
sure.
And I think that's kind of going away, and the business is maturing, and I think ERA is really been a big part of that. I remember coming here in 1993, I think 94, when we were at another hotel, and there was a handful of exhibitors here, and it was NEMA.
Yeah,
and,
I remember that.
It was Greg Renko was heading it with Kevin Harrington, and now you come in and there's hundreds of exhibitors and almost 4,000 attendees this year, and I think Pitchmen had something to do with that.
So you think that the spotlight now, especially since we're focusing on the inventors and the human interest stories, you think that's going to help so that the public will maybe look at all these products as there's got to be somebody behind it with a dream,
yeah,
right?
I mean, I think when people go into a store, sometimes they look at a swivel sweeper or they look at OxyClean, just a little plug right there for some of my amazing products. They just think it's a piece of plastic, and there's this company and it's a machine and there's no one attached to it. Swivel Sweep was invented by the Coletta brothers, two brothers, and we told their story on Pitchmen.
Sure.
And then we take the products into the field sometimes, and we're testing them in these kind of wacky field tests. And I also think that's, people like, hey, these guys are really testing the products and making sure that they live up to, the claims they're making. So I think being able to tell that story has kind of made the business a little more human, if you will.
Sure. What do you think is the biggest challenge? There's probably nobody more on the forefront of DR than you in terms of what's working on television, what isn't. Little plug. I do some hosting.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest challenge is going forward, like with the social media stuff and all of that? How is that going to affect the way you do the business?
I think the business has been changing since the day I got into it. We were initially, infomercial and short form, and that's what we were locked into. Media times got more expensive. It's harder to get a good CPO now. It's harder the business has become more competitive. I think it's become harder, definitely. But I think it's a really exciting time with the social media, and I think everyone's trying to figure it out. And every year I come here, we're all trying to figure out what's next, because the landscape is changing so dramatically. And I think we're going to get to the point now when mobile media is going to explode, and I think we're going to see that I think TV is going to take second place to the internet. It's going to happen.
Do you think these challenges and the difficulties we face make us better at what we do, rather than sitting back saying, well, I've had a lot of successes and this is the way I do it because I've always done it this way? Do you think these challenges really help hone your skills?
I don't think I've ever worked so hard in my life as this last couple of years. It just seems it's more challenging. The shows have to be better, the offers have to be better, the demos have to be good. We live in a world now where pretty much if you're a 10-year-old kid, you can produce your own little commercial and have it up on YouTube in 10 minutes.
Right.
And so you have to get through all that clutter, and that didn't even exist in any way, shape, or form 5 years ago. So it's just this changing landscape is, I think you've got to be quicker, you've got to be nimbler, and I think to be in the business now, you really have to be paying attention. And when you go back 20 years, and I remember when I first saw my very first infomercial, it was on Discovery Channel, believe it or not, in England, and it was, I think, John Parkin selling something, lighting something on fire. Yeah. But that media time was almost free, it was almost given away. And you look at how much the business has matured since then. I think you definitely have to be sharper and on the ball and better, and I think the industry is.
Yeah, it's interesting. We saw the influx of all these channels, and we were all worried about fragmentation, and now it's still hard to get airtime sometimes on some of these networks.
Yeah, it is, and I think the media buyers are making too much money.
We've got to fix that. All right, one last thing. We all miss Billy. Give us one funny story related to, say, The Tonight Show. How was that visit with Conan?
I haven't really talked about it too much, but the last time I ever saw Billy Mays was in the flesh, was on The Tonight Show, on Conan O'Brien. And the two of us were on there together. And there was no doubt Billy was a superstar. And we would go around the floor here, and everyone would be taking pictures of Billy, and I would generally be his cameraman. And he's like, I want this for you, Sully. I want this for you. And I was like, I'm fine. I'm completely fine being behind it. I'll produce, I'll get a little airtime, but you can be Billy Mays, you can have all the limelight. Anyway, so we're going on The Tonight Show, and Conan came in and said, Sully's sitting next to me and Billy's going to sit next to the other side. Billy almost had a heart attack. He's like, no, I sit next to Conan. And I didn't say a single thing, and Conan's like, no, Sully's sitting next to Conan, to me, you're going to sit over there. So And he goes, so therefore Sully has to walk out first. So I'm thinking, not only, now this is, I got Billy, I was on the Tonight Show with him, and I'm walking out first. So we walk up to the curtain, and it's nerve-wracking. They just had Lisa Kudrow on, and I was, just a bundle of nerves. And Billy's behind me, and they have these ushers that walk you up to the curtains, and you hear the band, and you can see Conan through the curtain. And all of a sudden they're like, and please welcome our next guest, Billy Mays and Anthony Sullivan. He pushes me out the way and walks out first. There's this big, you can see it if you actually watch it. And then I'm looking at the couch, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, if you even think about sitting next to Conan, we're gonna get into it on the Tonight Show. We're gonna have a knockdown. But he was very graceful, and he let me sit next to Conan. So and that was a great night, and it was, I think, the fastest 10 minutes of my life, but I can remember every single bit of it. It was nerve-wracking because we were going through all the products, and I think the crowd really enjoyed having us on there. And it was, out of all the things I've ever done on TV, the Tonight Show with Conan was the biggest and most fun the thing that I ever did, and it was the last time I ever saw Billy.
Yeah.
So I get like choked up thinking about it a little bit, but I think like what a way to go. You know, a great memory. Last time I ever saw him, we were sitting at a bar somewhere in LA watching ourselves on the Tonight Show. I said, I'll see you in August. I never saw him again. So
doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
No, and that really sticks with me. I'm like, did he know? Is there something that he knew? I want this for you. I want this for you. So now I'm walking around the show, and I really miss him. He was a great guy and a good friend, and I think the industry misses him.
Well, if you want, come down to the bar later, and we'll watch this show and have a beer. How about that?
We have to, in Billy style, we have to put a few beers back.
Of course. Right. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for watching. Anthony. I'll never say it Anthony again, I promise. Thanks for watching ERAtv. I'm Craig Burnett. We'll see you next time.